If you rocking with Killer, one thing you need to consider, it's going to be a good time. Amen, say man. It's your girl, Kaya J, and you're listening to Amen, say man, the podcast, where we talk about topics that matter. If this is your first time listening, I guarantee it will not be your last. And if you're an OG listener, welcome back. Your girl is back. Life just started taking me fast, but we're going to dive right into it. The purpose of this podcast is to educate, encourage, and enlighten myself and others as we navigate the craziest hood of them all, adulthood. Today, the topic is facts over feelings. This is something that I have had to master and really kind of dive into it, deeply explore as I'm just navigating various situations and decision making. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Y'all already know how we do it, so I'm going to kind of give y'all a background over the topic, and we're going to kind of dive into just like an analysis of it. Then I'm going to lead you to the Killer Countdown, and then, hey, I'm going to give you the rest of your day. Y'all ready to kick it with Kaya J? Let's do it. The meaning of facts over feelings. So this phrase emphasizes the importance of making decisions based on logic, evidence, and rational thinking rather just leaning on emotions. It doesn't mean that emotions aren't valuable, but it just more so promotes a balance in kind of being able to decide, okay, am I making this decision based on how I feel, or am I making a decision based off what's real? As humans, our brains work in two different ways, and they have two different systems. One is fast and emotional, and the other is slow and logical. People tend to make impulsive decisions based on emotions rather than data. So that's like you in a car right now that's driving, and if somebody were to just cut you off right now, your fast and emotional reaction would be to cuss them out. You know, road rage is a fool. But your slow and logical reaction would be to slow down, go ahead and let them in, and to continue going with their day, because you don't know what may be going on in that car that may have caused them to make that abrupt turn or merging into your lane or whatever the case may be. And the way that you handle that situation can depict what may happen long term, as far as, let's say you did react by cussing that person out, or throwing something at their car or whatever the case may be, and that causes just a bigger situation. The person cuts you off, pulls over, or whatever the case may be, and then y'all get into it, which will lead to just a bigger thing, a bigger debacle. Or, like I say, you could be cool about it, let them in, kind of slow down, maybe switch lanes, and then just go along about your day and not have to worry about it. But just like I say, taking a step back sometimes and just kind of navigating your reactions can really have a big impact on and also it gives you a sense of control that that is not as present as when you act on emotions. And so people tend to make impulsive decisions based on emotions rather than data. And just because you are making a decision that may be like free from emotions and things like that, that doesn't mean that you're ignoring your emotions. That just means that you have a better understanding of them and you know how to manage them when it comes to decision making. Oftentimes when we respond to things or we're navigating the situation, one thing that we tend to do is we lean on our biases. So we lean on the different experiences that we've had that have made us think the way that we think or experience a situation in a certain way because of the way that we experienced them in the past, and that may not be what be currently happening in the present. So it's more important to rely on facts rather than feelings, because what you feeling may not necessarily be what's really going on. Let's dive into how the role of facts and feelings can play into personal development. So, feelings are always valid, but they're not always accurate. Just because we feel something doesn't mean it's true. For example, like oftentimes, especially, and I'm talking to my people who may be in certain spaces working with people who may not look like them. Maybe you may be a first generation college student and or a business owner, or you just may be walking the path less traveled. You may be experiencing what you may know as imposter syndrome. So you feel like you have done all these things, but maybe you're not deserving of being in the space. You may kind of question who you are and your worth and things like that. And so those are the feelings, the questioning, am I good enough for this? Am I supposed to be here? But if we lean on the facts, look at all the different certifications you've been able to accomplish. Look at all the markers that you've been able to make throughout owning your own business. How much money you've made, how many people you've touched. When you think about just all the things you've done, when you look at your rap sheet, the facts are there. And so when the facts are there, it's kind of, and you acknowledge those things, it makes it easier to be able to understand or to be free from different things like imposter syndrome. Also, when it comes to distinguishing the difference between facts and feelings, you're able to lean on more so like self-awareness rather than leaning on like a temporary state. You know, you may not feel like going to the gym, right? But the facts are, if you go to the gym consistently 3 to 5 times a week, that you will start to receive or see the results within your physical physique as well as your mental health and things like that. So the fact is, numbers don't lie. People do. And so sometimes the people lying can be us within ourselves and our minds lying to us. And so that's a little bit how just the role of facts and feelings can play into personal development. Let's lean on to how facts and feelings can lean into, just like I say, leadership and decision making. So if you listen to this podcast, I already know that you're a boss. And so when it comes to being a boss, sometimes you have to oversee others. Sometimes you have to lead certain conversations and things like that. And so when it comes to, just like I say, making decisions that are based on your facts and not your feelings, that can be more so, maybe you have someone on your team and they may be likable. You know, you all may get along well, but maybe they not meeting the marks in the office as far as getting certain paperwork done and things like that. You have to lean on the facts and being able to see how valuable they are to the team and to the company, and less about, like I say, how much y'all get along or how compatible y'all may be. Y'all might be watching the same shows. You might be thinking like, this employee is cool. But also, like, if you lean on the facts, it might be time to start having those real conversations with them. And just like I say, breaking up the numbers so y'all can make sure that whatever is getting done is getting done. And then when it comes to like decision making, like for example, for me, I am 24, hitting the 25, and I am navigating the world of dating. And when I tell you it is a fool, it is a fool. But I was recently dating this guy, great guy, real cool experience, whatever the case may be, but I just started noticing like it was different things within the patterns of behavior that just did not align with what I wanted to experience. And so I had to start leaning on the facts like, okay, cool. It's a fact that he's going to have to do this and he's going to have to do that. That's something that's not going to change. I had to, like I say, pull my emotions out of it and be like, okay, cool. It doesn't matter how much you like him, but how well is he treating you? And so, like I say, that kind of helped me lean on my decision to, if deciding, is this something that I want to continue to experience, or can I remove myself or just kind of change the dynamic of the relationship to ensure that I'm getting what I deserve or what I want to experience, but I'm not, in a sense, like settling for something that may not be aligned with what I'm saying that I want. And so in that regard, I was able to make a decision based off my facts and not my feelings, that was able to help me just better understand a holistic approach to coming up with a solution to that situation. And so with that being said, those are just like a couple examples of how you can be able to apply facts and feelings in your workplace as well as your personal life and things like that. And so y'all know me, I never want to talk for too long because my attention span, I always say my attention span is the size of a grain of rice. It's very, very short. So I'm going to go ahead and take us to the Killer Countdown. And so if you are unfamiliar with the Killer Countdown, basically I start from 5 and I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with just different things that I want you to be able to take away from this podcast, because I always feel like, y'all can listen to me talk or whatever, but if you don't take nothing away, then I just wasted your time, and I am not here to waste your time. So let's go ahead and head to the Killer Countdown, and I want to share with you 5 things to remember. So if you're a note taker, it's time to go ahead and pull out those notes. If you are someone who maybe likes to write things on sticky notes and things like that, I would say get out your sticky notes, get out your pen and pad, because I'm finna get ready to drop this knowledge. So 5 things I want you to remember about facts over feelings. Number 1, It's very important to make sure that you do not make decisions based on your desires. So just because you like, okay, cool, like, you know, I done had a good week, I'm finna treat myself, I'm finna go buy this, I'm finna go buy that. That's a desire. That's something that you want. That's something that that your flesh is like yearning for. That does not mean that you should make the decision to get you a seafood bowl, go to Sephora, buy that new pair of shoes. Like, wait, like slow down. Like, make sure that any decision that you make, it's aligned with what you want to deal with tomorrow and not just what you want to deal with for right now. So, number 1, do not make decisions based on your desires. 2, understanding that trials are temporary and pain is not permanent. And so this is something that I know when I'm going through something, I be like, Lord, like, what is going on? Like, when is this going to end? And I know sometimes, like, when you just going through a rough patch or a period, that it can feel like it's never ending. But I'm here to tell you that trials are temporary and pain is not permanent. It does not last forever. And just to more so lean on, what is this season trying to teach me? And instead of saying, why me, say, try me. 3 things to remember. Disappointment disconnects us from reality. So when we have an experience where we feel like somebody let us down, like immediately, like we go ahead and start charging it to that person. Or this person, they can't love me because if they can't show up for me the way that I need for them to show up, that shows me directly how they feel about me. That's not true. Sometimes just people go through different circumstances that depict how they may react and or respond. So you should not attach those disappointments and those letdowns to that person or that situation. And just like I say, more so take a holistic approach rather than just like I say, receiving it in that way. Number 4 of the 5 things to remember: pain prevents repeats. So that's real simple. Once you go through something, you don't want to go through it again. Just like when they told us when we was growing up, let somebody touch the stove. Once they realize it's hot, hopefully they won't touch it again if their fingers get burnt. It's the same thing just in life and everything. Once you experience something and you don't like how that thing makes you feel, it will prevent you from having that same experience. So just if you experience something that you may not like, that you may not be fond of, just make sure that you don't put yourself in a position to ever feel that way again. And that's your way of controlling your narrative. And just like I said, how you're getting the opportunity to experience the world and life in itself. Now we're going to lean on the last one, and that's pain pushes progress. Now, if you're anything like me, then you somebody that, like, when something happens to you, you like, okay, cool. Like, I'm finna boss up. Like, I don't know about y'all, but, like, for me, like, heartbreak is, like, my best, like, just driving factor. Like, when I'm going through something or if I'm going through a hardship, I always come out harder. It pushes me to go back to the drawing board to figure out how I can just operate in my greatness and things like this. So I'm gonna say the 5 things to remember is that pain pushes progress. It creates the best art. It creates the best plans, and it really pushes you in order to be to navigate and be your full self and to just show up as your full potential. So those are 5 things I want you to remember. Don't make decisions based on desires. Trials are temporary and pain is not permanent. Disappointment disconnects us from reality. Pain prevents repeats, and pain pushes progress. Those are 5 things that I want you to remember and take away from this podcast. Now we're going to head on to the 4 things about facts. So the 4 things about facts are reality. Facts are proven. Facts are the truth, and facts come from evidence and data. So I always want to make a clear, just outline or definition or just understanding of what words are, because I feel like people tend to forget that words mean things. And so those are the 4 things about facts that I want you to remember: that facts are reality, facts are proven, facts are truth, and facts come from evidence and data. And so these are things that are practical things that you can use in order to help you make decisions. 3 questions I want you to ask yourself when you are having an experience. I want you to ask yourself, what are the facts? How do I feel? And lastly, what matters most? If you ask yourself these 3 questions when you are having any kind of experience, this will help guide or make you make the best decision in how you should be able to handle that. 2 things I wanted you to know that emotions tend to cost. So emotions will cost you time, and emotions will cost you money. When I say emotions will cost you time, sometimes we allow ourselves to be in spaces, to be connected to people, to stay on jobs for more time than we are really supposed to be there because we have an emotional tie to their obligation, to their person, to their situation, when we should have been gone. Also, if you ever notice, when you are in a point where you are having to make a decision, your mind, like, you can't even focus on certain things because your mind is on that one thing, and it's kind of, in a sense, guiding your whole life, whether you realize it or not. And then 2, money. And so if you ever realize when you're emotional, your spending goes up. You start buying yourself whatever you want. You start buying yourself different kinds of food, just trying to treat yourself, you start spending money that you're not even seeing the money that you spending because your judgment is so clouded. And so that's the 2 things that emotions will cost you. It will cost you time, and it will cost you money. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I am a quote girly. And so if you are someone, like I say, that you love quotes and that they really help just you pull everything together, I'm going to let you know this one quote that I want you to leave this podcast with. The strength of your emotions does not determine the truth of your beliefs. And that's a quote by Tim Urban. I want you to leave here knowing that sometimes our brains and our feelings and things, they lie to us, y'all. And so I want you to make sure that any move that you make, you're able to make that move based on the facts and not the feelings. And so that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about today. It's something that I've been learning to just navigate, like I say, through my various situations, whether it's work related, whether it's relationship related, family and friends related. This podcast is applicable to all of those different things. And so if you like what you're hearing, be sure to check out some of my past episodes, and also turn on your post notifications to receive and know when I'm dropping some more. That was our episode talking about facts over feelings. It's your girl, Kaya J. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to kick it with Kaya J.